In the midst of the Vietnam War in Southeast Asia and our fighting in Phuket, Da Nang, and Ho Chi Minh City, and Saigon and Hanoi, and air sorties over the country and dealing with the Viet Cong, a Cold War was occurring with the Russians. I was reassigned to the most God-forsaken place on earth. This place was discovered in 1700 by Captain Cook on the northwestern part of Alaska. So let's get started with our tour. We're going to be leaving Dover Air Force Base in Delaware, and we're going to be flying over Chicago, going northward towards South Dakota, crossing over Custer's Last Stand of the Little Bighorn, and north of the Rockies to Seattle, where we will spend one night for resting up for our journey by military aircraft out of McCord Air Force Base. Along the western coast of Canada, we will pass through Prince Rupert and on to Elmendorf. We will be in Anchorage, Alaska for approximately a week. We will be going through cold weather, getting a cold weather gear issued, medical and dental exams, rifle qualifications, the shooting range, government driver's license, and survival school, and so forth. We will be housed in a transit barracks with stinky feet and coughing and nightmares of past assignments and Army troops passing through to Vietnam. By the next morning, we're going to, we flew that night to Kotzebue. We crossed the Arctic Circle on October the 1st, 1969, and we became a member of that club. The flight was a very pretty moonlit night and the sun barely visible over the horizon because we were flying at 40,000 feet. From Nome to Kotzebue, I was the only passenger on the plane except for the crew. By the next morning, the fog had lifted and we took out going to Lisburne. We were flying with 500 pounds of meat, and I had to leave my cold weather gear behind. Luckily, I was able to retrieve it the afternoon. I was a replacement boiler operator for the site, trained as a heating system specialist. I was introduced to the commander and most of the personnel on site, and the second day I was given a tour of the site, including a tour of Top Camp, which contained a water purification facility and various other buildings and so forth. This radome in the Top Camp was 2,000 feet above the sea level, and there was two ways up, and that was either by road or by the tram car. We sustained the winter with a chill factor of minus 135 degrees below zero, and I witnessed moisture outside penetrating the door with icicles protruding horizontally about 3 inches to the inside of the door. We had our share of maintenance problems of water purification, Tapani burners failing to light, and just the general things for boiler personnel. Christmas came and passed with a turkey dinner and some songs sang. We gave thanks and continued with our duties. By that time, it was 23 hours of total darkness, this time of the year, and colder than a Welsh digger's butt. We were constantly harassed by the Russian planes, and so we manned our battle positions. February the 10th, we saw the sun over the horizon for the first time since October. That boasted morale, and by March we were experiencing high winds, so we went without mail for 18 days, and that made morale low, and phone calls back to the States were cost prohibitive. They cost $1 a minute. Early spring came and the sun was getting higher in the sky and staying up longer. By June, the mosquitoes were about as a nuisance as the bed bugs. The temperature was rising to 30 and 40 degrees above zero, and it seemed as hot as it was in Vietnam. As you can see, I lost 65 pounds because the chow was the same every week and on the same day, so we just picked and chose as to what we ate. We accepted delivery of oil in the following year via barge out of San Francisco. This was an all-day job with the fire brigade standing by in case of fire. And by August, we got up to at 4 o'clock in the morning for the cool barge operation. They brought in provisions and supplies for the following year. September came and I had been on site for almost a year, so it was time to pack up my whole baggage to send home. Since I had been in the service more than 4 years, it was shipped free of charge back to my hometown. I was getting anxious to get home and get on with my life. I had been recommended for re-enlistment, and I probably would have made it a career if not for traveling. Besides, I had survived a war and that no one wanted, so I believe God put me here for a reason not to re-enlist. I was promoted to staff sergeant, but I declined that and went home. The last of September, I left Lisburne for the last time. I had an option of being discharged in Anchorage, in which I would have to pay my own transportation. Uncle Sam getting me to Seattle, which I chose. Then I arrived back home in my hometown in Tennessee in September of 1970. And I dedicate this to every serviceman who ever served on this site.
Welcome to my world.
You ask me why I love her? Well, give me time. I'll explain. Have you seen a Kansas sunset or an Arizona rain? Have you drifted on a bayou down Louisiana way? Have you watched the cold fog drifting over San Francisco Bay? Have you heard a Bob White calling in the Carolina pines, or heard the bellow of a diesel at the Appalachia mines? Does the call of the Niagara thrill you when you hear her waters roar? You look with awe and wonder at her Massachusetts shore, where men who braved a hard new world first stepped on Plymouth's rock. Do you think of them when you stroll along a New York City dock? Have you seen a snowflake drifting in the Rockies way up high? Have you seen the sun come blazing down from a bright Nevada sky? You hail to the Columbia as you rush into the sea, or how you're headed Gettysburg, our struggle to be free? Have you seen the mighty Tetons? You watched an eagle soar? Have you seen the Mississippi roll along Missouri's shore? Have you felt a chill at Michigan when on a winter's day her waters rage along the shore in thunderous display? Does the word aloha make you warm? Do you stare in disbelief when you see the surf come roaring in at Waimea Reef? From Alaska's cold to the Everglades, from the Rio Grande to Maine, my heart cries out, my pulse runs fast, the might of her domain. You ask me why I love her? I've a million reasons why. My beautiful America, beneath God's wide, wide sky.